229 and 61 is still with us, is apparently one of the cars flipped over and it's on its top. So basically that whole area is kind of shut down. They're getting you through there or around it. So if you can avoid 229 and 61 to get to 71 right now, you may want to choose to do that. If you have to stay on, you can stay on 229 or if you're on 71, go on through to 36 or 90. Is it 95, Pam? That's 95. Those are going to be 95 or 36 right now are your best bets to go east and west to get to where you might need to go just until they get this cleared. They are basically trying to keep the area shut down so they can get that car out of there. West Central and Troy out near Delaware, that accident should be pretty well in the clearing stages. But just, again, that other one is the major thing we're worried about here. Other major problems that you want to watch out for, still keep in mind the earlier accident. If you had to take 270 off of 71 or 23 and head south, we had this earlier accident, 670 westbound out around 5th. Looks like that's finally cleared. But traffic on 270 south coming out of 161, moving toward 670 is still very slow. 670 slow to catch up, so use caution there. Looks like if you're taking 71 in from Morris Road toward downtown, there may be an accident as you get close to 5th Avenue. It's really slow there as well, so you be careful. Heavy on 23 as you're heading out of Lewis Center toward 270, and 315 heavy in the Powell area.
We're talking all things sports memorabilia with Mark Paulak from Sports Possessions, and we got goodies here too, Mark. Strawberry croissant if you need one of those bad boys, okay? They're taken care of. Courtesy of our friend Tom Kovach, the financial advisor.
The money man.
The money man. He takes care of all of our guests all the time. So back there, the Nick Bosa frame photograph right behind Mark. If you're seeing it on Facebook Live, there it is. How much is that? Just ask you straight out.
That is $219.99.
$219.99. So let's see, that's be like 1 cent less than $220.
That's right.
That's not terrible. I would have thought it would have been more. That's not terrible.
Yeah, a lot of times framing can add to the cost,
Right.
and authenticating items adds to the cost of the picture. So a lot of people think it's just the autograph value, but
No,
there's a lot of things
right.
that can influence that.
Well, you mentioned a good point there, authentication. So
Yes.
you receive authentication on everything you get from you folks?
Yeah, well, it's because we do autographed events in-house. Most of those folks are there taking pictures, but we do provide them a certificate of authentication. But there are a couple of third-party authenticators there, and that JSA, James Spence, and PSA are two primary. And they've sort of been validated by the Amazons and the eBays of the world saying, if you don't have this, then is it authentic or not?
Right.
So it's good to have something on there, or have some kind of story behind where you obtained it, and it helps with the value.
Would you ever advise buying anything that wasn't authenticated?
Yes. I mean, there are going to be things that maybe have been handed down, from family members
Right.
and things like that. So there's typically a story behind where it came from. But a lot of people, if they want to sell it down the line, they're going to take it to one of those third-party authenticators to have it authenticated.
My Woody Hayes book was not bought authenticated, but after, obviously I'm smart enough to know everything else I buy is authenticated. But this one, I've looked at it comparatively to other things enough to know that it was his autograph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Woody would sign a lot of
Yes,
programs
he did.
and books. And a lot of times it would have the Yay, Ohio
Right.
with it as well, or it would be personalized
It
to
was
somebody.
personalized, and this was
Right.
one that was passed down, and we got it the way that we got it. So
I know you don't have it here in front of you, but just based upon Kathy's description, what do you think about this? Have you guys gone into that?
held that book up and he goes, "This is the one thing I want in my prized possession is this book." And I'm like, "I'm not selling it."
Right. People aren't selling Woody stuff because it's hard to come by.
This time I might actually be ready to sell it just because I have a daughter that's about to have a baby that I want to give her the money to spoil her baby.
Keep on holding on to Woody stuff, sort of like Tom Kovach was just talking about with the stock market, holding on to your stuff, keep it, staying invested.
I hate the thought of ever selling that or my Clay Matthews helmet because those are the two that everybody wants.
Clay Matthews, you've got a Clay Matthews helmet.
Yes, I do.
Very, very impressed. Pam, what do you have?
So I have a 2002 National Championship football signed by Coach Jim Tressel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Auction. to benefit St. James School at the time.
So this is many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think that's worth these days? I'm not selling it either, but I'm just curious.
Is that a team signed ball or just signed by
I think
Jim
it's
Tressel?
just Jim Tressel.
Okay. With Tressel, you're probably talking in that $200 range. If it was team signed, you could be talking in that $1,000.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
definitely.
I'll have to look at it again. It's in storage right now at my house, but it's in storage. And then I also have a 2018 CBJ team signed sign. It's a big, giant sign, and the entire team signed it. And that was the team that went to the second round of the playoffs last
do you
season's
really?
team. Yeah. And someone won it in a raffle and gave it to me because they're a Maple Leafs fan, and they said it would just sit in the corner, and they wanted me to have it. And I was like, oh, my gosh, this is so awesome.
You would never sell that.
No, I would never sell that. It's on the wall in my living room. So what is that worth?
Some of this is very subjective.
Sure.
They
Well,
have
that's
some
Bobrovsky.
very good players on that team
Yeah.
that are no longer with the team.
Right.
Aaron Bobrovsky.
And
Shane.
if they
Shane.
were to go and win a Stanley Cup,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to see that value increase. But probably, I would guess you're talking somewhere in that at least $300 to $400 range. And and as time goes by,
Yeah.
if some of those gentlemen go on to win the Stanley Cup, you
Right.
could see that increase. Or if nothing ever happens to some of them, it could devalue over time. We see a lot of Rick Nash, Columbus Blue Jacket
Right.
stuff, who
Yeah.
was the
Great for a while.
legend back
Right.
in the day, and it's very difficult to sell his stuff now.
Now, see, I'm a collector of the football helmets, the mini helmets. So I've got Jim Brown, I've got Bernie Kosar, I've got Clay Matthews, and I'm trying to think of who else is I've got one more, Ozzie Newsome's. So I've got all their mini helmets, and then I've got football signed by Jim Brown and something else signed by Jim Brown. I think it's a jersey.
Okay.
So, and then I'm almost ashamed to admit this because of all the stuff that's happened with the Browns, but my daughter, when we were in a bad accident, we were there for one of their training camp days. So I've got one jersey that's signed by Tim Couch and Ty Detmer and their coach at that time, which was Palmer. And I'm thinking, well, that one's probably not worth. I have to pay someone to take that one. But I've got all those other football helmets that are. I like Tim Couch.
Yeah, you would have a hard time, I think, selling that one. But Jim Brown, whenever they're in the Hall of Fame, that is going to help maintain the value of something.
Right.
Hall of Fame players, rarely does that go down in value.
I don't think I could ever. I mean, for me, I love Jim Brown. Him and Bernie Kosar, I think were probably forever my favorites, and Clay Matthews.
Yep.
So I don't think I could ever sell them.
Pam was talking about her Jim Tressel sign football. Is there anything, you mentioned a few variables that come into play, but I guess I'm talking about condition.
Right.
What types of things can really affect the value of an item?
Yeah, condition is very important depending on what the item is. For example, if it was a football, is it scuffed up? Are any of the signatures smeared? If it's a football, is it a game-used football?
Because being scuffed up could be good.
It could be, right. If a game-used football would almost triple the value. So
Wow,
game
mine's
used,
game used.
yeah, game-used stuff can increase stuff. And what game was it used in? If you can
That I
prove
don't
that,
know.
you could prove something was used in the playoffs or the Super Bowl.
Well, it's the Browns. Come on.
But that does make an impact on the value of something, where it came from, and the history kind of behind certain pieces. Game cleats, gloves, those types of things. And then it's a challenge to say where those were used from. For example, Ohio State might say game issued, but they'll never tell you which player wore a particular item.
I've got a game issued T-shirt jersey I wear here during football season. I wear all the time.
I think it would be very confusing because there must be so many signed items out there. Everyone's collecting something these days, and everyone thinks, oh, I've got this little piece, and it must be just really worth something incredible. And they come into the store, and they're probably sort of depressed once in a while.
That's true. I just had an individual yesterday email me with all these items, and they were a lot of older Indians items. They had the three linebackers, Hawk, Carpenter, and Schlegel. And because they're around a lot, they sign a lot. It sort of depends
They're
on.
not worth as much.
It's not worth
Right.
as much. It depends on if they went on to the NFL and they had a good career. That helps. But typically people don't realize what they think they're going to get. And a lot of them I suggest to put on eBay because they have their largest audience there. And, hopefully they would get something closer to it.
And it's funny because some people won't pay anything for it, but if you find someone that's a real collector that really values them, they'll spend a lot more money for something.
Sure.
We're talking with Mark Paulak from Sports Collections, 2 stores, Mall at Tuttle Crossing, also at Tanger Outlet. More with Mark here in just a quick second or so. If you have a question about your item, hop on to Facebook Live. We're on Ohio's Best Classic Hits, WDLR, and leave your question there. 8:32 with the Breakfast Club. Kathy has a look at traffic on the way as well.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm
38, Mark, Kathy, and Pam. Mark is with us from Sports Possessions and the Mall at Tuttle Crossing, also at Tanger. More with Mark here in just a quick second. Pam preparing for Mid-Ohio News on the way at 9.
Former 10 TV meteorologist Mike Davis is expected to plead guilty to downloading and possessing child porn today. We'll bring you up to date on that story. Also, more schools have decided to close through the end of the week because of illness. And also, Powell and New Albany are top 5 according to a new poll. We'll tell you all about it coming up at 9.
All right, sports memorabilia. What's your stuff worth? What should you collect these days, huh? Mark Paulak from Sports Possession. Our Sports Possessions is our expert this AM. He's brought in this incredible Nick Bosa framed photograph sitting there behind him. Now available at the store. You can get that at either store?
Correct. There's one at each store. Only one.
One at each one. And I like this. Look at the look on Nick's eye right there. He's going, I bet he is staring down Mayfield. That's Baker Mayfield he's zeroing in on right there.
Why'd you have to bring up that freaking Okie?
Yeah, I'm going to nail him.
I love that. That was the best play in the NFL the entire season when he walked over and he did that.
Yeah, when he did that little thing, swung the flag around a little bit. Tell us
your Oklahoma.
Tell us your Nick Bosa
RO.
story there, Mark. What's that all about?
Well, a lot of people are not aware but the Bosa brothers' great-grandfather took over the Chicago mob for Al Capone. And he ran that for 40 years and never spent a single day in jail.
Very impressive.
Yeah. So
That's a man that knows how to do his work.
Yeah, they don't talk about it much, but with the Super Bowl coming up, they have Nick's been getting questioning about it quite a bit.
Bet.
But I think he had passed away though, and they had never met him, but it was their great grandfather.
So the Bosa's grandfather ran the Chicago mob after Capone.
Correct. He worked for Capone, and then when Capone went to jail, he took over that.
And you mentioned something too about the NFL interviewing their mother.
Yes, there were both of their. I think their dad and uncle both played for professional football, and the mother was interviewed by the NFL and had to testify that at the time her grandfather would not influence game scores or anything like that. Yeah,
fascinating stuff. All right, cool. You've also got a very awesome new T-shirt in your store. Which store is this one? You can get these T-shirts
at the Tanger, the Tuttle location.
That's the
This
Tuttle
fits
location.
in perfect with everything I have said.
Hold it up there for our folks on Facebook Live, and it says, read that to us if you would.
Undefeated on the field, lost one in the replay booth. And the other one that we have says, if you can't beat us, cheat us.
Oh, nice.
Those are both so true.
Right, both relevant to the Clemson game there.
Those are fantastic. You've made Kathy's day with that right there.
Yes.
Available at the Tanger location? you said?
Tuttle location.
The Tuttle location, all
Why
right.
can't they be right at the Tanger and I could just leave here and go get one?
Well, we had them at both, but with the autograph signing last week at the Tuttle location, we kind of transferred everything over there. So
Sometimes I'm afraid to walk into sports memorabilia stores because I'm afraid that my drool will damage the items and you'll make me buy them. So I got to be careful. I'm pretty excited about the hockey puck that you have right there. Can you hold that up in 12 gauge? See if you can zero in on that and show the folks who the autograph is from. Tell us about that puck, Mark.
This is a Zach Werenski puck. That's
maybe a little bit
autographed.
higher. You got it okay, 12 gauge?
Yep.
All right.
And
better watch Pam's hands with that.
That's why my hands are over here. I don't even want to get near it.
We have a number of autographed jerseys right now. We've got Winberg, Savard, Atkinson. We have some Atkinson and Werenski autographed 16x20s. But the Blue Jackets are getting more popular every year, and they're making another run at it this year, so it's exciting to watch.
They look good.
So you have the Werenski puck right there. Who else do you have puck-wise as far as signed ones go?
That's the only puck that we have.
Puck?
The other ones are all jerseys and photos of the players, yep.
That's nice. And he signed it very well.
Do you remember the puck I won in that auction?
No.
I don't either. I can't remember the
Don't
name.
know the slightest idea what you're
Because
talking
he's not
about.
playing
Catherine
there
Gray.
anymore. Well, your mom and I were at the same charity auction, and I can't remember what it was.
Don't remember it either. All right, one of you jump over there and grab this other photograph. We want to thank Mark. Mark's also involved in our 14
He brought
days.
this for me, but
This is beautiful. If you got a great shot of that, tell us about this frame photograph right here, Mark.
This is a Woody Hayes collage. It's not autographed, but it's the band doing spelling out Woody instead of the script Ohio, and not quite sure what year this was taken. You can see the old track around the field, so probably looking 60s or 70s. But Woody won 3 national championships at Ohio State, and I actually have kids come in the store sometimes and don't know who he is, so that's some bad parenting.
That's
there.
horrible.
yeah, what
Yes.
Oh, my God. Really?
Their parents
Yes.
need to
I
be
asked the
slapped.
parents to leave as soon as the kid says, "Who's Woody Hayes?"
Their dad needs his man card taken away.
Right. That's right.
So that photograph right there, our gift from you on the upcoming 14 days of On Air Valentine's.
That's right.
See, ladies, this is what your guy would want right here. So you want to make sure you're ready to call for this one.
That's a good point. About half of our customers are women because
They get it
they're
for their
buying
guys,
for
yep.
anniversaries, Valentine's, birthdays. So they know that's what they like. It's an easy gift. It's kind of it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, see, for me, my family always goes, okay, well, we don't know what to get her. Let's get her something Cleveland or Ohio State. That's what they've always done. And this year, I got my Savard jersey and no Ohio State stuff. So I was kind of disappointed. I would go, what the crap? No Ohio State stuff? What's wrong with you people?
So look forward coming here soon. We don't know exactly what day, but Sports Possessions will play Cupid on the 14 days of On Air Valentine's, and that framed photograph of Woody and
That is
Script
awesome.
Ohio, not Script Ohio, Script Woody, I guess there. That is pretty neat. So that would be estimated at value-wise then
About 110.
about $110. All right.
That's beautiful.
So are you a romantic guy yourself there, Mark?
I like to think so.
You like to think so. What would everybody say? Would they agree?
Yes.
What makes for a perfect Valentine's night? I mean, because Kathy's all about going to a Blue Jackets game and having pizza, and I think Pam would be okay with that too. Throw in some beer, some Jack Daniels here and there. Are you there?
Well, we actually had 2 customers come in, and the husband said, "If you buy me this framed jersey, we can have another baby." And I don't know if he meant that or not, but she came back the next day, and this
And
was
bought it?
this was a $600 jersey, and she bought it because that's how
Wow.
bad she wanted another baby. So,
Wow.
so you can barter with this stuff. It has a lot of
guess
value, besides the monetary value.
I'll do chores for a month.
Well, we know some of the big things that are out there that people collect like crazy. Baseball cards, it's the Honus Wagner card. But I guess for you personally, what would be your holy grail that you wake up in the night going, I hope someone brings this into my store tomorrow so I can buy it?
That's a great question. Well, probably for Ohio State fans, it would be a Chick Harley autograph.
It's Chick Harley.
Yeah, Chick Harley would have been our first probably Heisman Trophy winner if the Heisman had been around. He was playing back in 1918.
I don't think I've ever seen anything with his
No,
autograph on it.
I've met 4 people who have autographs, authenticated autographs, and they range anywhere from typically $5,000 to
Wow.
$20,000 in value. But that would be the holy grail of Buckeye collectors. There's just very few out there, and unfortunately, he spent the last 30 years of his life in a VA clinic, and probably because of football, of head injuries.
Right.
And his brother would bring him back here from time to time. They did a big parade in the 50s when Hop Cassidy got the Heisman Trophy, but Chick came back, and 50,000 people lined up down High Street to see Chick Harley.
Oh, I believe it.
And in the rain. But that's the most valuable piece that a Buckeye collector would want to have.
Wow, that's it. Chick Harley, huh?
Yeah.
That's like getting that 1943 copper penny instead of the nickel penny. Good luck.
I'm not sure if I necessarily want to delve into this, but I'm going to. You got to talk about Kobe Bryant and how does that change things? Have you seen it? Has there been a run on the store? Do you have Kobe stuff? How does the death of someone like that affect things?
Well, because of his age, his stuff is going to go up quite significantly.
Right.
He did not sign a lot of autographs. The bigger name players, Kobe, Tiger Woods, LeBron, they mostly do their autograph signings through Upper Deck. people are familiar with the card company. And, those are all $1,000 autographs. So Kobe, he didn't sign a lot, and I've already heard his tennis shoes have gone from $200 to $2,000 on the Kobe, limited edition sneakers. But on the autographs, I would say that's going to at least double, and it's going to hold its value because there's so little of it out there.
So it will hold. It won't be a short-term deal.
I don't think so. He did do some stuff with Panini, who is the new card company, and they were great pictures too, and those were selling for probably around $500 to $1,000. So this stuff could double easily, and I think it'll stay there because there's just not a lot out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Gage over here, 12 Gage, big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. We haven't talked about the Steelers. I would assume that there's probably no value in any Steelers merchandise whatsoever.
Surprisingly, probably
that is, I would think,
up to
has
2 years ago, we sold more Steelers than Browns.
Did you?
And Bengals combined. But the Browns
because
have taken
they
over.
actually win.
Yeah.
That's true. The Browns have taken over the last couple of years, but Steelers, they have 5 Super Bowls, and they have a lot of history there and some good players, and they draft a lot of Buckeyes. So, but Steelers is a very popular team, and we carry quite a bit of that stuff as well.
All right. Anything else we need to know about the stores or what's going on with Sports Possessions?
Like I said, just go on our Facebook. If you like our page, you'll know about our upcoming autographed events. And like I said, we have Coach Cooper and some of his players coming in February the 22nd. From 1 to 2 o'clock at our Tuttle store. And if you come in and mention that you heard us on the radio this morning, we will give you a 10% discount at either one of our locations today. So stop in and just mention that you heard us on air.
All right, Mark, thank you for the great information. And may one of those chick autographs come your way. It could happen today, I'm saying. It may be today.
Okay.
All right, we appreciate your time, man. Talk to you soon. On the way, another of Ohio's best classic hits, and our friend Kathy over there, she'll give us an update on